don't vote for the other guy. You don't like me, don't vote for the other guy, because the other guy's going to do X, Y, and Z, or the other guy did such terrible things. And I'm going to show you in these, flashing videos that appear and then disappear, and they're on the dark web and nobody can find them. But you're going to see them, and you're going to see that person doing these horrible things. They're also going to do third party again. And I'm not making any predictions, but I think they've got their eye on somebody who's currently in the Democrat.
But I have other people's comments here. Hughie?
Well, first on that issue, there's various forms of migration. And unfortunately, one of the only, Hughie will speak for Property Council, one of the only mentions of migration when it comes to housing is the fact that corporations, their staff, don't want now to move to Dublin because they can't afford to live here anymore. But certainly as a councillor, there's a cross spectrum of people on the housing list, and people are housed based on people's needs. And there is more than enough wealth in our society in Ireland to house everybody that's on the housing list, first of all, regardless of where they come from. I think it's a very important and principled position to take, and certainly as Irish people, the last thing we should do is put barriers up to people that want to migrate, given the fact that another result of the housing crisis particularly the fact that the other element of house crisis has forced so many of our young people to migrate out of the country, but also, like myself, to migrate anywhere they actually want to live. With respect to Wexford and Ferns, go through it all the time, great little spot. As a councillor with a full-time job, I can't afford to live in Laoghaire anymore. I have to commute for 4 hours a day. It's cheaper for me to spend 600 quid on petrol than it is actually to live in Laoghaire. So there's various impacts on young people and migration, etc. But just give some local examples. First of all, things are actually getting worse, and I hate to tell people this, as a councillor for nearly 10 years now, the list is growing all the time. The amount of houses that are allocated to people, about 90% of the houses that are given to people were built at a time of struggle. So for example, the early 70s, the house I was raised in, the vast majority of houses given out aren't new builds, they're not HAP contracts, they're the old stock. And the only way you get one of these is someone wins a lottery or someone dies in the house and has to go back again. So the evidence is there that when our country stood up and there was a struggle, if that struggle hadn't taken place in the 70s, I guarantee we'll be in a worse position we are now. But the important thing is, because it can be very depressing. I mean, our work's gone from 50 to 90% housing. But it's important, there are examples of victories, right? Last June, for example, we had a motion discussed in the local area plan for Shankill. Huge site in Shankill, the potential to deliver 500-600 houses there. We had a motion to build 100% social and affordable. The 100% council land that's gone on to the job. We were argued down by the Labour Party at the time, Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, argued the point, voted against us, and we went home very angry and pissed off. It was all over the local papers the next week or two. Councillors voted down social housing. The very next council meeting, the first thing on the agenda was a plan to build 100% council and affordable housing on that particular site. Why? Because councillors were getting in the neck and they knew they couldn't do this stuff without getting their back in the doors and there's an election next year, etc., etc. Unfortunately, the executive and the council, in other words, council management, they are charged with pushing out this government policy to the council. One of the things they intend to do at the very next council meeting, they have a list of sites that they intend selling off. Housing sites are on this. Now, they're not going to sell these sites off to build housing.